getting students motivated to do online programming. We had a week to convert over to install all the equipment, licensing, all the necessary platforms. That was the easy part, actually. Getting faculty cooperating, involved, and adjusting their material, that's also easy. The most difficult part is getting student engagement, making sure that students are online, actively paying attention, so they're not being shortchanged on their education. We try to use a carrot and stick. And the stick will comes in the form of, we actually do not record any of our classes for two reasons. One is intellectual copyright for the faculty. The other is a lot of what we teach in MBA requires active engagement. Right? And you got to be there to engage. Watching the video does not count. And since we're trying to do a lot of case discussion through the platform, we have to make sure the students are there. So we inform the students that we will not be recording. Your participation is actually recorded by the platform in terms of your engagement. We also check into the amount of time you are chatting or you're doing stuff online. So all that goes into a matrix that we use to measure participation. So that is the stick part. Carrot part, we are actually trying to be more generous in terms of how we approach assessment and grading of participation. Of course, that online does not substitute for offline completely. So we understand that from the student point of view, it's a little bit harder to absorb the material as well. But student has some intrinsic incentive to, we need to finish a program, we got other things to do after we graduate, so they want to still continue with this. At the same time, we're trying to be understanding of the real constraint they have, right? Trying to find an 1.5 to 3 hour block at home with streaming kids running in the background. We're trying to pay attention to a long, boring lecture by Eric Shih. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Right, so we try to give them a lot of exercises to do at home, some self-learning, but at the same time, we also try to be understanding how we assess their performance. But that's a big question. I'll start with the first part, how South Korea government is performing. I would actually say it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed grade how they perform. Initially, the first 2 weeks when this thing was just starting, we started to realize a virus is going on and spreading out from China. The government performance has been lackluster. Is very slow in responding, especially controlling its border, making sure that people who are coming in are checked and monitored. They actually been a lot slower than countries like Taiwan. But that said, I also teach crisis management as part of my research. And one thing you kind of learn from this experience is, even though you make a lot of missteps in the beginning, as long as you acknowledge and realize what's going on and you make course adjustment really quickly and execute really fast on the adjustment, you can still come out okay. So far, South Korea has been coming out okay. The government, again, they're playing by the ear. So every day they have new announcement of new contingency plan, trying to move things back. So for example, the country is going online teaching, but that policy has been adjusted every week practically. When is the final date that we are allowed to come back to the classroom? And they can keep adjusting the rules and regulations regarding to that. The people has been pretty cooperative. So one good thing is in the country like Korea or Asia in particular, there's less concern or social stigma about wearing face masks. We, as a country, people have been wearing face masks when the air is bad outside. So they actually are more aware of that. They have more experience with going through SARS, going through MERS, going through swine flu. So mentally, they're a lot more prepared to deal with it. As a culture, Koreans tend to be very cooperative, and they tend to be very collectivistic. They watch out for one another a lot more. So you don't see a lot of young kids going out partying in Mardi Gras. Right. South Beach spring break is not a thing here. Crisis planning. realizing that how administrator executives work through crisis, how crisis tend to create a lot of unnecessary panic, and how do actually a company will work through those situations. Those are certainly very fruitful area of research.